Kj Kearney is a James Beard Award-winning social media influencer and community organizer based out of North Charleston, South Carolina. As the founder of Black Food Fridays on Instagram, he has won James Beard Award twice. He recently launched a traveling Black food storytelling event called Bite the Power. Get it? In honor of his work in historically excluded communities and his James Beard win, Kj Kearney Day, July 8th, 2024, is proclaimed in his hometown of Charleston. KJ has worked with household brands such as Target, Meta, and Pepsi. You may have seen KJ in such shows as High on the Hog or his new show, Bite the Power. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him as KJ, and I know him as friend, Kj Kearney. KJ, Mr. Kearney.
Hey.
I am Jerome, and I am from BFAM Cooking, and I am ready to get in it with you. How are you doing today, sir?
It's a glorious day. I just got back from Toronto, or as I would normally say, Toronto. But I'm having a good day. No complaints, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm hanging in there, doing my thing as normal. But I really would like to thank you very much for taking the time to talk to such a small guy as myself when you rocking it the way how you rocking it. You know,
I appreciate you, dog.
Oh, please. We are. I have so many major questions to ask you, and you have to excuse me, but I'm going to make sure that I've hit all of them before I let you go.
Fair enough.
So you have pushed out some stuff to the world that has touched on all the things that I feel like I'm about, and and that's why I really wanted to ask. So let's start into it by saying you went to college. I did not find that where you went to college. I know that you was in a fraternity. So could you tell me a little bit about your college days?
Yeah, man. I graduated from the illustrious South Carolina State University, home of the Mighty Bulldogs and Marching 101, the premier HBCU in the state of South Carolina. I did pledge while I was there. I pledged Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. And college was one of the best times of my life, man. So anytime I get a chance to talk about my alma mater, and I'm a life member of the National Alumni Association. So I'm not just one of them people who graduate and talk about graduating. I put my money where my mouth is. I'm a life member.
So, sir, community organizer. I did some research on you. All my back talk was to figure out exactly what it is that you do and where you came from. My understanding is that you ran for office. Is that correct?
Absolutely. In the year 2016, I ran for office. I was working in public education at the time, and a friend of mine from college called me, and she was like, "You ever thought about running for office?" And I was like, "Yeah, when I'm 50." And she was like, "Nah, I think you have a chance now." So she told me about a seat that was, had a chance of flipping. And she asked me if I'd be willing to run. And, I'm the kind of person that most times I'm going to be like, I'll try something at least once. So I ran for State House District 15. And if I would have won, I would have been in the House of Representatives in the state of South Carolina. I lost by like 5%. And I'm thankful that I lost, because if I did not lose, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now.
So you really think that food is politics? Is that correct?
Absolutely. I mean, I think most things are political. Food especially. Yes, sir.
Okay, so how do you wrap that up? I mean, you went to college, got a business degree, is my understanding, right? And then you decided, oh, okay, I'm going to run for politics. How do you move from this door to that door to the next door, and now you're here where you're at with our favorite Fridays event? Yeah,
I mean, Jerome, I think you're giving me a lot more credit than I deserve. This was not a planned thing. When I graduated from college, or actually when I was getting ready to graduate from college, I played football in college as well. So my senior year, I got recruited to play quarterback. Believe it or not, I was about 100 pounds lighter. So, I got recruited to play quarterback, and in high school, I was quarterback and free safety. So in college, I played quarterback. But then, for those of you who played D1 sports, you know how this is. The coach that recruited me my freshman year retired. And so we had a new guy, and, I wasn't that guy's guy. So I bounced around from wide receiver, which truthfully, I should never have been a wide receiver. I'm quick, but I'm not fast. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I went from wide receiver to free safety, and then strong safety is where I played most of my time in college. But I quit my senior year because I just wanted to be a student. And I was on academic scholarship too. So there's a little nugget for you. You could be an athlete and you could be smart, kids. So I wanted to just be a student, and they won a conference championship. So one of my best friends has a big old diamond ring that I could have got if I just sat the bench, but I wouldn't give it up. I think that was the start of me just trying things out. And so my whole life has just been a series of me trying something. And, all those roads or all those doors have led me to where I'm at today.
So as a child, then you obviously ate for sustenance and get you ready to play sports. But was there any other connection, a family connection? Any of those? Were you into culinary?
No, I mean, to be fair, I didn't start thinking of food as anything other than substance, until probably when I ran for office in 2016. Like, that's really what started food as a political tool, because even though I lost that race, because I ran a good race, I got recruited by an environmental nonprofit agency, a nonprofit that did environmental policy work in the state of South Carolina. And so that got me in front of Democrats, Republicans, senators, people who were running for office. I met Joe Biden, I met Kamala Harris, I met Cory Booker. Like, anytime they came to the state of South Carolina, that was my job, to go meet them and talk to them and tell them where we stand on an environmental from an environmental standpoint. But I remember that every meeting I ever went to where it was well attended, it usually accompanied food.
Yeah, well, that's a given in my line of work, as far as I know. I mean, so I worked at this place called NBC, and one of the things that I used to do was try and bring people together like we used to do when I was in the military. I just invite the entire floor. I didn't care whether you're a senior vice president or you clean the floors.
Right.
You're invited. Come bring, come do, come share. So to me, community is, and you have to build it first off, and it's always wrapped around food. It's food and music generally. So I'm the guy that had the big boom box on his desk. I'm the guy who brought the extra dish. We had 3-4 crock pots in the office. And can you imagine this in a cubicle space?
No, I could not imagine this in a cubicle space.
Well, I had my boss's boss buy them, and we only floor that had real knives on it.
Right.
So that's basically it. But
gotta do it.
To me, community is what you have to build, and I'm really curious as to what you think community is around this thing because of food.
Well, just in general, because a lot of people don't know I have a day job, and my day job is that of a community organizer. And I work in historically excluded, under-resourced, underfunded, purposely forgotten neighborhoods that just so happen to be full of Black people. And what I understand is that community is actually proximity, right? There's community in a general sense, but then there's community in terms of who you're close to, who you're actually in contact with, shaking hands, kissing babies, that whole nine, right? And food is a really good magnet to draw the like-minded, to draw the curious, even sometimes people who are against you, right? They might come for that free beer or for free barbecue or whatever the case may be, right? And so for me, community is proximity. In my opinion, you cannot build community unless you're willing to be proximate to the people or the issues. And like I said, I think is just like a magnet. It's a tool in my arsenal as an organizer to bring people together.
So speaking of tools, you did something during COVID, right? Your way of communicating out there to get out there. You started this Black Food Fridays. I picked up on it, and I'm just curious, sir, why did you stop? So I can't find it. I can't find your store anymore. I have a few of your items already from back in COVID, and I'll just be specific because we had conversations about it on in the line at the supermarket up here, right? Who made the potato salad? so if that question gets asked to me every time I'm wearing the shirt,
right?
I wear the shirt often, and it's been laid out around my little community here. That that's a question of which Jerome pronounces.
Hey, there you go.
Very, very much. Tell me a little bit about the who made the potato salad.
So Who Made the Potato Salad is actually the name of my newsletter. I wanted it to be immediately recognizable by anyone who considers themselves Black or African American specifically, right? I didn't want to have to explain what the newsletter is. If you hear Who Made the Potato Salad, you automatically know it's about food. Now, what direction I might go into, you may not know, but you know it's about food. And so when I first started, like I told you earlier, right, I'm down to try anything. So I put some shirts out. I mean, I sold a little bit, but not enough to keep up with the demand, not the demand, but to keep up with the back end of things. And now when I re-release some product, I'm only doing so, with the full scale plan. I was just winging things, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I was just winging it. So, you are, early and right now one of the few people on this planet with that t-shirt. So be blessed, brother.
I'm blessed. I just don't know why you gave it up. Well, I don't want to talk about the business part of it, I guess, in a way. I mean,
let's also be clear. Like, at the time, I didn't have talent management. At the time, I was literally just thinking as a community organizer who just happens to be good at the internet. I wasn't thinking like someone who wanted to create a long-term business strategy. You know what I mean? And so the t-shirts were great, but it was just an add-on. Like, I didn't have any strategy behind it, and trying to keep up with that was becoming a little too much. So when I do re-release these, there will be a fully functioning mechanism of which people can buy, and more importantly, return or complain to someone who's not me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to deal with none of that stuff, bro.
Yeah. So you didn't go. The way I'm doing t-shirts, I have a t-shirt that I put out there from my veterans group, which is called Air Force Mafia, right? I just figured if someone wants to buy it, I'm not looking to, well, I'm not looking to cash out. I'm not going to retire on t-shirt money. So I just figured I'd just put it out there. And I use one of those services that allow you to throw the design up and let them pick what they want. So
no, that's pretty good. I'm just very, I come from a streetwear background. You know what I mean? Like, I was in Toronto for 5 days. I probably went to like 6 sneaker stores. I can't help myself. It's just, it's just who I am. So if I release product, direct to garment is perfectly fine. That's what you got. You got a direct to garment shirt. That's perfectly fine. But for me, I care about cut. I care about fabric. I care about tags. I care about the entire experience, especially now that the brand is becoming more recognizable. When you buy something from me, I want you to feel like, oh, he put some thought into this. And at the time, I don't even know how the shirts came in a white PVX bag. I don't know, exactly. Like, I want there to be a little bit more of, oh, this is a part of a full ecosystem and not just, I'm trying to get your money real quick.
Yeah, okay, I get it. It requires so much more work. That's what I was thinking. So you brought it up. I'm gonna go there. Sneakerhead and foodie. That is what I'm seeing you are, right? Sneaker. I'm a big shoe guy myself. You know,
Right.
I got because it's fashion. You know, we big black men. We can't go out rolling looking like some
Right.
kind of, stone or pebble. We got to look. We got to look at least what we consider to be right. You
Right.
know?
Absolutely.
You know, it's this or actively black. Or, you know, you wearing something that's you know, something that's right for you. And yeah, these are all opportunities. Tell me about your sneakerhead little problem you have, because that's got to be hurting the pockets.
I'm retired. You know what I mean? So I have quit twice. At my highest, I probably had 100 pairs of sneakers. And you're right, that does hurt the pocket. It does
Hurt the pocket.
So now I will say this, Jerome. Kwanzaa, I went to Asheville. I went to the mountains of Asheville to get away and try to like strategize for the upcoming year. And when I came down from the mountain, not to sound like Moses or anything, but when I came down from the mountain, I realized a couple things. Number one, I was just buying sneakers to buy them. You know, I was chasing the highs, so to speak. And the older I get, the less concerned I am with having the shoe that everyone else has. You know what I mean? I think that sneaker culture now is about the accumulation of SKUs, you know, and not so much like an individual style. I'm going to sound like the old man because I was going to be like, not to sound like the old man, but I don't give a fuck. When I was younger, I remember reading sneaker blogs and websites and magazines, and they would highlight the guy who had 30 pairs of Air Force 2s, right? Like, why does one person have 30 pairs of Air Force 2s? Nobody even wears those shoes. Or, you know, or before Asics became the cool kid sneaker, right? Like a guy or a girl who had the largest collection of Asics. You know, I feel as if sneaker culture was more about the individual way you approach the culture and the product. And now it's just, I gotta get every hot sneaker. And if I get every hot sneaker, I can consider myself a sneakerhead. Like, you don't have to travel anymore. You know what I mean? At the time, Nike was anti-selling online. So like, if you wanted a shoe, you had to drive to another city or take a plane or a bus and you had these Nike Talk and other, you know, back channel ways. eBay was popping, you know what I mean? Like, you had to really be in the hunt, and it felt more genuine than it does now. And I don't want to be a part of things that aren't genuine. So I do still enjoy shoes. In fact, when I was in Toronto, I bought a way too expensive pair of Hokas. They were fly, and I needed better shoes than what I was wearing at the time. But now for me, it's about two things: style and comfort. And so I'm not jamming my feet into no shoes no more. You know what I mean? I got custom insoles, Jerome. You know what I mean? Like,
that's it.
Exactly.
That's grown folks stuff.
That's grown folks stuff. I ain't never going back to poor people insoles. I ain't never going back. Ever. So like, you know, but for me, it needs to look good. Yeah. But it also needs to feel good. I'm 41 years old now, dog. I can't be out here jamming my shoes. And I would do that when I was 18, 22. You're like, that's not my size, but it's close enough. Nah, bro.
That lasted me about 15 seconds. That'll be like, no, I can't do it. But yeah, so let me steer it back a little bit more towards some food here.
Please.
And you know, you had put out something there. Why Sweet Grits is wrong, my friend? What's wrong with Sweet Grits?
You know,
you and Carla Hall both talked about Sweet Grits, and Carla said she liked them. I love them. I don't know what the big deal is.
I mean, listen, I did, if you will, provide Sweet Grits amnesty this year. I've just dedicated myself to not getting wrapped up in the whole Sweet Grits debate. Now, personally,
that's a shirt for you.
Right? Personally, I am anti-Sweet Grits.
Okay.
Personally, have I had some Sweet Grits that were good? I sure have. Like, I can't front and act like you can't make it do what it do.
Yeah.
It's just not my preferences. So again, it's one of those things when you get older, A, get custom insoles, B, buy shoes that fit you.
Yeah.
And 3, let them people eat whatever they want to eat. If you want to eat Sweet Grits, Whatever. It's hard enough being black. We can't be divided over no sweet grits.
That's what I was getting into, my brother. It's like I can't see how you would say an absolute no to it, firm no. But I think it's more of a African American northern United States thing. Right. I'm in Long Island, and my grandma, that's one of the things that we had for breakfast was an opportunity to have sweet grits. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the traditional butter and sugar, salt is all it was. But what is one food memory? And I deal with music all the time. So what's one song, a dish that brings you back, my friend?
Now, I want to be clear. Are we talking about you heard this song while eating this food type memory, or like a specific lyric that is about food?
Well, specific food and song. That's you tell me how you want to give me that one. I don't think it's just the lyric, because when I was preparing for today, I'm something popping in my head. My wife didn't even remember this song. You remember the song "Follow Me"? Follow Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, boom, boom.
Yeah, the Baltimore house music.
Boom,
yeah.
Boom. Yes. And I was like, my wife was like, "What is that you're humming?" I go, "It's called Follow Me." And at least I think it's called that. That's what it was. All I know is when the song came on, I was on the floor. That's all I know.
There you go. There you go.
So what is that and the reason why that it came to my mind was I was thinking about you and the way how you were traveling and doing your thing, and I'm like, oh, my next thing I gotta get it, and then that started coming into my brain was Follow Me. Follow me. And that's all I could think of. What is that memory that connects you and this food, or you and this song?
I have a lot more you in this song memories than I do you in this food memories. Only because, like I said, if I'm being honest with y'all, I ain't really start caring about food as a tool or even as a potential creative space until 2018. I wrote the proclamation for Red Rice Day for the city of Charleston. So yeah, I gotta be real. It's more like me in these songs. So one song that will always have a special place in my heart is Shake It Like a Dog by Cain and Abel.
Okay.
My freshman, I was so ready to leave high school. I graduated in May. I enrolled in college in June. And I went into this special program called SCAMP, the South Carolina Alliance for Minority Participation. They were trying to get more black kids in the sciences, right?
STEM programs, yes.
Yeah, exactly. STEM program. You're right, because this was 2001, so this is before STEM was a thing. And so it was a bunch of other high-achieving black kids from around the country who wanted to start college early. And I remember that our guides for the summer, they were like sophomore or juniors and seniors. And they would throw parties for us because it was June in Orangeburg, South Carolina. There was no place for us to go. We're all 18. We can't get nobody bar or whatever. So they would throw parties for us. And one time that song, Shake It Like a Dog came on. And I'm not going to say no names because if this person hears this, I don't know if I have permission to tell the story. But this young African-American woman who was also in the program, who was from a place that at the time, at 18 years old, it didn't even cross my mind that black people lived there.
Okay. That would be any place cold for me.
Right, exactly. 100%. Exactly. Right. And we're not talking about New York City. I'm talking about in the middle of America, right?
Right.
And for reasons I still don't understand, Jerome,
Colorado,
she decided that I was the person that she needed to take out her twerking aggression on. And it forever changed my life, brother. Like, that's not even one of my favorite songs, but it has a special place in my heart because old girl literally backed that thing up on you, boy. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That's all right.
So yeah, bringing up that I forgot what he calls himself now. All I know him is for Black Smoke. He's an author and he wrote the book Black Smoke.
Adrian Miller.
Yes. I'm talking to Adrian.
Yeah.
I did an interview with Adrian and I'm like, So you live where? Colorado? I didn't know there were black people in Colorado. How many black people? You must know everybody that's black.
He gotta know at least 30% of the black people. He gotta know.
I think it's like 2% or something like that. First off, it's high up. Two, it's cold. You know. And I know I'm ex-Air Force, so I know the Air Force academies there. That's a lot of white people, and it's so many white people that you had to say, the commandant had to say, hey, there's more people than just you guys in Colorado.
That's real.
They had to remind them that in today's day and age, there are other people on this planet besides you.
Which is why I am, if I may take a little aside here, which is why I am very baffled that everyone thinks that Deion Sanders is going to go to Colorado and turn it into like Miami North or something. Like, that's not
happening.
It's not happening. I hope he does well, but this idea that he's going to turn Colorado into some kind of mini HBCU or something is just preposterous.
Preposterous. No, we're not rolling like that. He's don't have that power. But black food, spice equals good food. We know this. This is a standard. Also another shirt, right? Tell me a little bit of something about why it is that we are the kings of understanding what spice is, and what does new American cuisine mean to you?
Oh man, those are two completely different questions.
Yes,
all right, one is
right.
Why? Okay, yeah. Why are black people the kings and queens of spices? I think I'm gonna speak from being a Gullah Geechee person. So for those of you who do not know, Gullah Geechee people, we are the direct descendants of those West Africans who were forcibly brought over to colonial lands and forced to till those lands. You know what I mean? For my people,
and make rice in South Carolina, right?
Right, exactly. My people were from Sierra Leone, or present day Sierra Leone. The west coast of Africa was considered the rice coast. So they pulled people specifically because we were geniuses at manipulating this marshland. They're like, which is crazy that they always try to make us seem stupid or slow or feckless or whatever. But they brought us over because we had that skill set. So anyway, moving forward, the Gullah Geechee diet, I believe that we are the foundation of what African American is. When they talk about the Great Migration, you have to leave from somewhere. They were leaving from South Carolina and spreading, proverbial wings. And in a big thing in Gullah Geechee cooking, and I have found this to be true in a lot of West African cooking, is there's a lot of vegetables in our diet. So we're eating a lot of rice, greens, like any okra, like it's just any vegetable you can think of, it is in the Gullah Geechee diet. And we have to also remember that we didn't always have access to meats.
Yes.
Meat wasn't always a thing we had access to. And so the ability to take something like lima beans or rice or collards or okra and make them taste worth a damn, you had to be a master of spices. Not to mention that, the spice trade is a real thing. Y'all could Google and see how Africa, Mediterranean, India, or present day Africa, Mediterranean, India, right? Like spices were just flowing in and out of those places. So like it's in our DNA to do so. Now, what does that mean for new American cuisine? Before you asked this question, I wouldn't have thought they mattered, or rather that there was any compatibility between the two. But I do think that you see the proliferation of Instagram chefs or TikTok chefs who are just dousing everything in Henny or Crown or Kool-Aid or, other things that we grew up with. It's because we need extra. You know what I'm saying? Like we need extra. And I think that the internet is doing a great job of exposing us to new things from a spice standpoint, from techniques, right? From cultural and traditional techniques, but also, allowing us to take things that we already are familiar with and add it to the zeitgeist, if you will. So to me, new American cuisine is actually being developed now. It's whatever we're doing now is new American cuisine. Some of it I'm not a fan of. Some of it I think is outstanding, but I think there's room for everyone because listen, 100 years from now, we might look, our great grandchildren or grandchildren might look back and be like, you know what? That Hennessy, they was on to something. You know what I mean? Like I make fun of it now, but like, what if somebody 50 years from now, 20 years from now figures out a way to take that thing and zhuzh it up, right? We'll know it works because if 100 years from now, white people are dousing their food in Hennessy, then we know it worked because they don't discover nothing. They just, you know, they colonize adapt. Things. Yo, that was nice. Adapt. They colonize.
Yeah. That's why New American Cuisine works so well, which I'm stealing from your topic. I mean, you basically said this of recently. You came up with a question about what cuisine, if you had no other, you know, if you could only pick one out of this 9, which one would you pick? I chose and responded American cuisine, and the reason why is we steal everything.
Right.
There's nothing on that list that we don't steal, and there's a few others that we also steal.
No, absolutely. And I didn't pick American because I don't believe that we have an American cuisine.
We have everyone else's. That's why I picked it.
Right. And so like my thing is, since we are not living in a country that will acknowledge everything that black people have brought to the table, I would rather not choose American so that I don't want no more Paula Deans getting rich off our stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Saw that too, huh? Okay.
She's from Savannah. Like, she's down the road from me.
I was going to ask, but I didn't want to ask because I didn't know whether you wanted to touch that little live wire.
I mean, I don't.
It's not your live wire.
I'm about to say, I don't think it's a live wire. I don't think any of this is necessarily controversy, right? Like,
you're right.
When in the history of whitedom have they not exploited talented black people who didn't know their worth, or didn't know they could ask for more, or didn't know they could start their own thing, or didn't have the resources to do so? So they're just like, I'd rather just kick it with this person than, right? I won't be able to cook if I don't do it with them. So like, I'm not shocked by none of this. Like, it is what it is. Like, in fact, there's speaking of white people, there's a white dude, he's dead now. His name is Saul Alinsky, and he wrote this book called Rules for Radicals. And one of the things that he said is, and I'm paraphrasing, but the only way to change the world is to accept the world for what it is. And so in 2024, to still be shocked that there are white people who are willing to exploit black people, that's a you problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta,
that's true.
That we can't be shocked by that. That's the least shocking thing I've heard in the last month.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was hoping that wasn't what it didn't sound right to me at first when I first had found out about Paula Deen, that she was in charge of the kitchen and she had all these black people. I was like, that's pretty weird.
How is that weird? This is the South.
I mean, I was hoping for a new South is what I'm hoping for. Okay, so I'm trying to put a nice spin on it.
I feel you.
That maybe that's it. But I really find it funny because I keep telling my wife she loves and I love the recipe that's out there called her banana pudding, which is not your mama's banana pudding. Yeah. And to find out that it's not hers either. That's just all right.
I know he's canceled right now, but this quote really, not her, but the person I'm about to mention. I know that this person is canceled right now, but this quote that he said makes perfect sense. Sean Combs said in a song, "Don't worry if I write rhymes, I write checks." Right? That's Paula's mentality. You know, like that's it. Don't worry about if I made the recipe. It's on my platform. You at my restaurant. You on my website. You watching my show. What difference does it make?
The difference was the plantation thing that she was trying to push. That's the difference.
Not your mama's banana pudding. Not her mama's banana pudding either. So she technically ain't lying, baby.
That is one real situation. Hey man, I'm not trying to miss anything, but I want to make sure I touch on it. Citizen betterment, my friend.
Ooh.
Tell me about this. I want to know. I want to see you more on TV. You obviously have the personality for it.
Thank you.
You fit the right spot, and I learned so much from your Instagram and just from you being the little snippets that I see you on, the High on the Hog. Tell me about this Citizen Better.
It's over, thank God. And when I say thank God, I mean the sense that the show that was pitched and the show that we end up filming are not the same show. But again, there's a learning available in everything we do. And what I learned, especially when it comes to public television, any television, but especially public television, who owns the gold makes the rules. You know what I mean? And so the show was outstanding in terms of, for those of you who don't know, I hosted 8 episodes on PBS Digital, or actually the PBS Voices YouTube channel, of a show called Citizen Better, 8 episodes. And it basically was me as a community organizer going out here and finding different pockets of communities and comparing those communities, or showing how those communities have become politically active so that you too can become politically active, right? Try to demystify the whole political process, because I promise y'all, it's not nearly as complicated as they make it seem. They want you to feel overwhelmed. They want you to feel that this is out of your wheelhouse so that they can continue to make policies that benefit them. So this show was just strictly our attempt at demystifying the political process. And I think there are some things that we did very well, but I also think there's some things that I wish, if I had more control, we would have done differently. So we might do a season 2, but if so, a lot of things are going to have to change, including me, how much say I have in things. But the experience was a great experience, and I am with you, Jerome. I want to see me on TV more often too, baby. Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, that just sounds like you need to start your own thing. Not that I'm stealing you away from PBS, but there's this platform. They have this thing. It's called YouTube, and your show was already there. But then you would own all the content and you could do it as you wish.
No, absolutely. Right? I mean, here's another thing, right? This is why Paula Deen is able to Paula Deen, because when you want to do stuff correctly, it takes money. And white people,
this other platform called Kickstarter.
Come on now.
That help you fund the way how you get from point A to point B. Now I know Kickstarter works because I have some other friends that I interviewed that the BAM community. She started a bookstore. 2 sisters started a bookstore. They got the money because people wanted to hear from them. I'm telling you, people want to hear from you. Maybe this is a direction of what you could microfund your way on into something that is health in your hands and supported by your community. Building your family, like you just said, is not as difficult as you think, my friend.
No. Listen, I hear you, but let me add this to the conversation, okay? If I'm going to ask for money, I'm going to ask for big money, right? Like I don't want no $100,000. You know what I'm saying? I'm interested in creating a business that can scale. And so that means millions of dollars. And so, yes, television or YouTube is one of the avenues in which I want to operate in, because to your point, we own the intellectual property. We own the ad dollar. Well, the ad dollars come directly to us, whether it be sponsored from the outside or Google AdSense. We can merchandise off of that. Books can come from that. There's a whole bunch of stuff that can come. But that's what I mean, not between me and you, it's the podcast. But that's kind of the reason that Bite the Power exists. Bite the Power is my attempt in creating intellectual property that I own, and that I can monetize. So my manager is Steven Satterfield from High on the Hog.
Okay.
He owns the agency that I am, represented by. And one thing that Steven did that I will share with everybody here, and I don't mind sharing information because, Jerome, I understand that 90% of people who are listening ain't gonna do shit, right? So you could tell everybody the playbook. It don't mean they gonna do it.
That's for sure.
So one of the things he got me to understand is there's a difference between being a creator and a CEO. Right? A creator is chasing trends, right? They're trying to get on the latest wave, right? They want to be mentioned in whatever is coming.
Yeah, like fan base.
Exactly. Right. But a CEO is thinking long term, and the way you're able to think long term is you have to have intellectual property. The masters of monetizing intellectual property is Disney, right? So, for example, boom, Lion King. My manager told me if you don't have intellectual property that you own, and you can't lift every finger and have a viable way to monetize that, it's not that it's a bad idea. It's just an ideal not worth pursuing, right? If you're trying to be a CEO. If you want to be creative, go for it. So Bite the Power, what you saw was those events, those tours that we did. Shout out to Lowry's and the Ace Hotel for sponsoring. Right. That's one finger of, bro, I got 10 fingers of ideas of how we can monetize Bite the Power. So anyway, I'm thinking in those terms. So yes, I will be raising money one day. It ain't gonna be a little bit. And we will also find ways to meet people where they are. So those fans or supporters of mine who maybe they only have 250, maybe they only have 500, we still find a way to incorporate them. But I don't want to put my hopes and dreams on a bunch of, $250 donations when there are people out here who have real bread and they just want to be a part of a winning situation. And I feel like what we got here is a winning situation.
So sir, I hear what you're saying, but I think that a provable entity is best supported before you shoot for the start. Every step you're taking towards that goal will benefit. You could use that power by if you got microfunded. That's not saying that this is the route for you.
No, I get you.
I'm just suggesting every time you get somebody to give you money, whether it's $2 or $50,000 or $50 million towards that direction, it may be the seed. Carla Hall asked people to help her support her restaurant. She was only looking for, if I remember correctly, it was $60,000. Right? That's not enough to start a business. That's not enough to start a restaurant in New York. Right. I think the ladies, now I'm going to mess up their names, so I'm going to just say the Ben ladies, right? The sisters got together and they were asking for $60,000. They overshot. They got a support.
BEM, the bookstore.
Yes.
Yeah. I donated.
So did I.
Yeah.
So yeah. These who else was asking for money or for something? I just think that showing people are willing to support and whatever number that is will be a benefit for when you go ask for the real money. This is only seed money to get you to get a proper logo, have a better business plan, set up a board, and then you can go to knock down those real pillars, go to your people who have money, who may be willing to, delve into something that could be an experience. This is a way that you can prove that this concept is going to work for other people.
I do not disagree. The only thing I will add to that is I've already proven that this is a winning concept, right?
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So like, for me, PBS show did it, right? Yes. High on the Hog did it. Food Network, been on there. James Beard Award, got one, right?
Right.
Tours being sponsored by Lowry's is a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Ace Hotel. Yes. So in my mind, those were the little steps in my mind. You know what I mean? But again, I want to be clear. I'm not going to not ask my supporters to be a part of this. I just know that for where I'm trying to go, I need to start it. I got to start at a higher place and then bring everybody. Because again, that's a part about being a community organizer. You got to know how to pull which lever and when to pull it. So I'm going to save that lever for the smaller, donations.
T-shirt business. T-shirt business.
Right. Exactly. Like that kind of stuff. So you can have something tangible. No, but that's a part of, that's one of the fingers, right? Like, yes. That's a place where somebody who's like, oh, I only got $50. I'm gonna put it here. But for me to before I even ask you for your $50, I'm gonna go ahead and get $50,000 or, $150,000 from, 50 million. Speak that into existence, brother. Let's go.
$50 million. I don't know. First of all, I'm really confused as to, we have BET, right? So, BET is available. It's out there. Food Network's out there too, but there seems to be one thing that seems to be very low in quantity on Food Network, and they always come up with an excuse, and it always seems to have the same sort of heartbeat. There are different flavors of us, right? We are, different tones, and therefore different likenesses, and our opportunity to market this media business in the food realm or otherwise. I love all the segments you give on history. Stuff I didn't know, stuff I did know, some of them, but that opportunity to hear from you, and I'm going to bring up some other people, caller again, right? The gentleman that you on Food, the High on the Hog, the lady who's in that, the doctor lady. The two ladies from BEM are really, really educated also in reference to this. Our friend, my friend, your friend probably, JJ Johnson, Chef JJ Johnson, another guy that I love a lot. All these people I've even interviewed or I know, Jermaine Stone from, what was it? Love and Hip Hop. No, I want to say Love and Hip Hop. It's not. It's Wine and Hip Hop. That's
yeah. I think he's like the Wolf of Wine Street on Instagram.
Wolf of Wine.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
So I'm putting together a whole media conglomerate for you right there.
So, okay, yes. And I think this is going to be, this will wrap it all up. Okay.
Yes.
I have made acquaintances with people who have television shows, specifically in the food world.
Right.
And the one thing that they all caution me is that when you get a show on someone else's network, you got to play by that network's rules, right? I could never, let me rephrase that. The likelihood of me being a Food Network personality is slim to none, because ain't but so much laughing and giggling I'm willing to do, right? Food Network has a tone. They have a tone, they have a brand, they have a target audience, and they do a very good job of mining that target audience for the funds they need to keep doing what they do, right? But they also own all the intellectual property that's on their network. So even if I did get a show, I would only do it for the exposure so that then I could get my own money and do my own thing on YouTube or somewhere else. The conglomerate that you just mentioned is possible because there is no BET of food. And honestly, that's what I want Bite the Power to end up. Actually, if I can be real, I like Bite the Power to be the essence of food. And we can talk about offline why I think that's a better model than BET. But like the point remains, you're absolutely right. There is none, right?
Right.
But also, go ahead.
I was going to say, sir, I just want you to make sure you understand. I'm not saying you get a show on that. I'm saying that is the network. That's literally what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't understand why you could have a show on your own network. I don't understand why we don't. So I was at a online pod thing called Black Summit, Potty Summit in Atlanta. So a couple of weeks ago, and a gentleman was talking about fan base. Right. And he was saying how we create everything and then people follow along. I don't understand. I mean, technology is my actual business. I'm a software developer. So I'm literally saying, I don't know why people, and we got to stop thinking it's got to be on traditional cable television as the front door. Right. So if we're thinking about what's possible to do, it's possible to loop in these individuals, not that they would all agree to it, but I think they all like a piece of the pie.
Absolutely.
In that.
Here's a real world example. Okay. Yes. Have you ever seen the show on YouTube, Hot Ones?
Yes, definitely.
Hot Ones makes, I want to say, $30 million a year in revenue.
I did not think that was something that they did, but okay.
But the company that owns them, BuzzFeed, is actually trying to sell them. Right?
Not enough money for them?
Well, you got to think about it. When you own a network like a Food Network, Complex Network, right? Like, you're not just serving 100,000 people, right? You gotta serve tens of or hundreds of millions of people. $30 million is not successful to a Food Network. That's a waste of money, right? But $30 million, if Hot Ones was an independent entity, $30 million a year would be outstanding. In fact, that might get them acquired by somebody, to be honest with you.
Yes.
But as it stands, they can't find a buyer. Well, now, what does that have to do with all the stuff I'm talking about? I could call Carla Hall and all the other people you mentioned, right? And put them on one show. Who's paying for that? How are we getting revenue? How are we turning a profit? Like those are things that we got to we got to consider. Like, we can make the platform, but who among us has a relationship with Pepsi where Pepsi's going to be like, oh yeah, we're all in. $10 million, $20 million, no problem. We got you. Right? Like, so that's the stuff. Creating it is the easy part. Making it a viable, scalable business, that's why I'm taking my sweet ass time. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And you're going to know, because you're going to be one of the first people I tell, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'll come back to the platform, to the podcast and be like, I told you I was going to do it. It might take a little bit longer, but yeah, like, trust, like, I hear you. Absolutely. But also, media companies are in the business of selling advertisements.
Yes, they are.
Right? And so ain't but so many targets to go around. Right? Like, there's not a lot of people. The NFL can get any company to sponsor them because the NFL appeals to hundreds of millions of people. If your fan base is 1 million people, that's really good. But how many businesses want to give money to a entity that only has a fan base of 1 million and is primarily focused on black people? Like, that might narrow your scope of who's willing to buy in from an advertisement standpoint. But that's a conversation for another day, because this has been great. This has been outstanding, bro. Like, I'm glad I said yes to this part. This is great.
Well, thank you. I mean, I just really, I'm BFAM Cooking, obviously, is brother from another mother, and I really like to develop my own family, my own connection point, and the people I speak with. I'm constantly thinking about how I can better support them. You know, what is it? Community to you. Community to me is bringing individuals I know could be successful that could help other people move forward. And I know that you're a community organizer, and I really think that as a community organizer, the community I'm talking to you about is getting these people together into a giant circle, because I can see how they can connect, and I see how they sometimes don't listen to what the opportunity could be. I suggested to JJ that he get with, Jermaine. They're in the same space. I think he's coming to your town into Charleston to do Food and Wine in September, right? And they should partner together. They would fit together better. It corrects some of JJ's little things, and it'll bring right into the music. And they're already out there doing the I have an event in San Francisco. That's Jermaine. He's doing an event in San Francisco. He's got one in Philly. JJ's got a TV show that he's jumping all over the place. He's trying to get the book out there. I think that if you push these things together, they could be much stronger. And this is where I see you as it's sort of like it's like the Justice League, and I'm going to the cartoons.
Let's go. Let's do it.
They got the 3 boxes that they're trying to squish together and make one entity to change the world. If we can get your business sense around getting their heads and the other heads, and Carla, because Carla has her show that came out, and I've already watched it all, digested it, to morph together, I could see such a great thing happening that doesn't necessarily have to be wrapped around food, but definitely has a feeling in the food world, right?
Absolutely.
It's possible to get the history out of you and help you to mark the world and make it a better place, man. That's basically it. I can't wait to taste some of this food that comes out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would also say one thing that we have to be honest about, again, you can't change the world till you accept it for what it is. A lot of these people have egos, bruh. You know what I'm saying? And so
I know.
Yeah, so like as a community organizer, I pride myself having confidence. Yes, I am not a humble person, but I don't lead with ego, right? Like that I think kills community more than anything. And so I feel like there's just a little bit too much ego in the ecosystem right now. And everybody's just trying. There's very few of us in the black food space who have the time to sit back and look at the landscape around us and be like, hey, it'd be great if I work with this person or work with this person. You just said it, Jermaine on tour. You know, JJ opening restaurants in Atlantis and he coming back to New York.
Yes.
And, you know,
Yes.
It's a lot of running around. So I agree with you. I just want to say that for the record. I think a lot of beautiful things could be done. One, there is ego that we would have to manage. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it has to be managed.
Yeah.
And two, a lot of the people that we see and look up to in the black food space are doing great work. They're hustling. So they don't really have time to slow down and sit down and strategize with each other. But hopefully we can change all that, right? That's what conversations like this are for.
Right. Like the family reunion, the cookout that just happened this weekend.
Just happened. Yep.
Yeah. That's a spot of which, I mean, I'm in a multiracial marriage, right, for 37 years. So I always question whether that would be something I could take my wife to or not. Whether I'm going to have to slap somebody back into existence, and I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
But I would if I needed to.
Yeah.
So you were saying we need to be able to create a space that allows for everybody to come, which is how you're going to make the biggest bang for your buck, right? So even though I could afford to go to a place like that, I question whether I should or should not, because I would obviously need to bring my wife with me, and I don't want to have to handle no business.
Well, number one, you said obviously. I didn't know you had to obviously bring your wife. What if you tell your wife this is a trip, this is a food trip, baby? I'm going to work. I'm out here shaking hands, kissing baby. No, she ain't going for that.
No, we're both foodies. So
okay then, yeah.
It's not gonna work.
No, I've never been to the family reunion. I keep getting asked every year, "Are you going? Are you going?
Are you going?"
I would love to go. Number one, I'm not a chef. That's the other thing people got to realize. The people who get invited are chefs. I'm not cooking nothing but jokes.
But jokes, and that's perfectly fine too. I mean, I was going to ask you that question. That's on my list of questions to ask you about. Do you actually cook? Because haven't seen you.
No,
just eat. Hey, we need people on the other side of the table.
Come on now,
that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I write about food. I make videos about food, and I eat food. I ain't doing too much of cooking.
Yeah, okay, all right. So
but I do,
enjoy.
Oh yeah, I mean, my father is a great cook. My little brother is a great cook. My sister is an outstanding cook, but also baker. Every ex-girlfriend I've ever had has been an outstanding cook. The women who are in my lives, who I love dearly, they are great cooks. You know, even some of my homeboys, they know how to get down. So like, I've just been blessed. I've never had to figure that part out.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, the reason why this even exists for me is because my wife and I decided to get off the couch and instead of watching Food Network and such, we cook. We've been cooking on this path for I think like 14 years or something.
Okay,
like
nice.
But let's just jump back in before we wrap this all up, because I feel like we're going down now. So I just want to make sure that it's over with Citizen Better, right? But Black Foodie Friday's there. You're gonna figure out how you're gonna get me some more T-shirts, because you know I need to get more T-shirts. You know,
I'm not mad at that. Yeah, Black Food Fridays will be dropping more merch. It'll probably be through Bite the Power, to be honest with you. But yeah, Bite the Power is my baby, man. Like, that's the thing that I really feel is going to take me and hopefully the black food scene, you know, up a notch, right? From a media standpoint. Like, I'm not trying to outcook nobody, but I think there's some spaces that we haven't really tapped into yet that I'm looking forward to being that guy.
History is the thing that we're tremendously, like, you know, that we're I don't have to tell you that. That's exactly what I go to you for. that and a smile. You give me a smile on from what you do, asking the questions about the grits.
I try.
Right. And the food that's always entertaining to me.
I'm not asking no more questions about Keith Lee though. Apparently he is off limits. You can't ask nothing about him at all. So that's the one. Oh, and Darius Cooks. Those two men, I will never ask questions about them ever again. My platform, my followers, raked me over the coal, bruh.
And here's the funny, I don't know. I know of Darius Cooks, but I don't know very much about him, and it is what it is. He's not on my list of people to follow. Not somebody that I've been dealing with, or the other gentleman you mentioned. I don't know anything about him at all. I have to look him up. So
yeah.
So, but sir, we're doing pretty good here on time. But I just want to make sure that I'm not eating up be respectful of your time. You have something else that we should know about that we can help support you with as a community organizer or otherwise?
Thank you. Well, the nonprofit organization, if you're still listening, the nonprofit organization that I work for is called Charleston and Promise Neighborhood. We, like I said, serve historically excluded elementary school students in the Charleston and North Charleston area, particularly in an area called the Neck. So if you just need a nonprofit to give some money to, please look up Charleston Promise Neighborhood. Our CEO is a Black woman, Sherry Snipes Williams. Yes, Snipes. That means she is cousins with Wesley. I haven't met him yet, but hopefully one day. And
maybe
so go ahead.
Maybe you know somebody in my family. I'm sorry, James Amos. Excuse me, John Amos.
John Amos.
Yeah, John Amos. That's my last name.
I mean, but like the actor John Amos?
Yes, the actor.
Oh, word. Okay, fair. There you go. Well, listen, I want to meet every Black person who is interested in food and can open doors for both of us. You know what I'm saying? That's all I want. That's a small ask, right?
I've only met him once, so that's basically it. But maybe it's the same situation with her. She only met him once.
Oh no, they're cousins. Like, yeah. No, they're real cousins. And the other thing outside of Charleston Promise Neighborhood that I would just like to put out there in the atmosphere is that I am blessed to be able to win a James Beard Award, be nominated twice, do all these cool things. I will say that in that regard, I am not special. I think the thing that separates people who make it and people who don't is just persistence, bro. I just never quit. In 4 years, I think I've maybe taken a week off from posting. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe in total, in 4 years, maybe a month worth of days, right? It's not hard. It's just tedious to just do it over and over and over and over. And thankfully for me, most of this stuff started popping off in, 2 years, 3 years. But I'm 41. It took this long for me to get here. You know what I mean? Like all the other things you talked about, running for office. I ain't tell you about coaching basketball or, any other of these other things I used to do. So for those of you who are listening and you have a dream and a goal, I'm not one to just be like, pray in God and believe. Like you got to do some work, bro. Like do some work. But if you are steady, learning your craft, getting better, and also last thing, stop relying on the internet to open doors for you, dog. The internet is not a real place. Go swipe that credit card, go to Atlanta, meet that chef. Go to LA, meet that food influencer. Go to Napa, meet that wine. Go and meet people. That has been what separated me from other people, Jerome. I know these people because I would just swipe the credit card and be like, let's go. Let's see what happens, right? Like, let's see what happens. And those relationships I still have and are serving me well. So y'all, get from behind your screen, get from behind the phone, and go into the real world and meet some people and watch how your life changes.
Wow. That's powerful. That's definitely powerful. Really, thank you again, sir. This is exactly what I hoped for when I asked you to come on the show. I hope that people out there actually follow you. They gotta they got to giddy up on it. You've been nominated twice, so I have to correct that now. So you only won once. I thought it was twice because I had seen that you've been. I just assumed you won.
I'll take that, brother. Speaking into the atmosphere, baby.
I did double check that it was to 2024 you won. I didn't double check that it was 2023 when I heard that you were up for it then,
Yeah, so I got nominated in 22, and then I got nominated in 24 and won in 24.
Okay, so that's on me, guys.
No worries.
But I was talking with there's another gentleman, Charlie Mitchell, who owns Clover Hill.
Oh, yeah. I met him this year at James Beard. I don't know him well, but we met this year.
I went to his restaurant before I even, I was like, let me sit down with this.
Right.
Before it gets crazy.
Right.
Because I had passed him off to some people at Today's Show. I sent them over a link or something. I was like, look, you guys, you get him before he goes crazy. You need to get him before he's crazy. And I was like, when we were having our sit down there, which was, let me just say, if you have time and you don't mind spending a mortgage check, you should take the time and eat there. That is one place that is.
I'm with it. I'm with it. You ain't got to say nothing else. I'll go.
Wine pairing was phenomenal, right? And like I said, my wife's a foodie, so we doing experiences. That's what we do. We go out and we get this thing, So I just happened to catch him just as he just had won. So I don't know how difficult it is to get in there now, but it's phenomenal.
I'll make some phone calls to see what I can get done, baby.
Yeah, get you a table. Well, right, New York Food and Wine is coming up in September. It's going to be packed in Brooklyn anyway, so that's going to be difficult. But
yeah,
hopefully you can get in there.
I'll get there when I get there. He ain't going nowhere. Right. That man's going to be a legend.
He's going to be of course he is. I mean, that place was. I got to bring my butt on over there again, man. Got me salivating again thinking about that meal. But yeah, sir, it's been a pleasure, and we will see you, on Black Foodie Fridays. That's definitely on Instagram, and I hope that we can support you there. And you're gonna put them shirts back out because I think that those are the funnest communication tools that you could have. The Beat the Trump shirt anytime, or an anti-Trump shirt anytime. But it's been a pleasure, and thanks a lot again. Really, this has been fun.
Yes, sir. Y'all be safe.
Yes.